Good morning, students. In today's class, we'll start with another topic, that is organizational resistance to change. So, we have understood what is resistance to change, what are the individual reasons why people resist change. So, we'll recap what we have studied in the previous class and then we'll continue with what are the organizational reasons in which the organization as a whole resists change, and then we'll understand how we can overcome this resistance to change. So let us recap what we have studied in the previous class. So these are the reasons for the individual resistance. First is the fear of unknown. People resist change because they don't know what the change entails. They do not understand the complete change process. That is the reason, since they fear the unknown, they don't know what is going to happen in the change process, so they resist change. So this is the fear of unknown. Then comes the fear of loss. People generally resist change because they feel that they will be this change will cause job loss, or it will lead to change in the position that they have in the organization. That is the reason people feel that there is a loss that they will be bearing due to this impending change. So that is the reason they resist change. Another reason of resisting change is fear of failure. People generally feel that they will not be able to cope with the change and they will not be able to master the skills that is required to work in the new environment once the change is initiated in the organization or implemented in the organization. Another reason of fear of failure is that they do not believe that the change can be properly implemented in the organization. So this is belief that the change process will fail in implementation also leads to fear of failure. So these reasons, they generally individuals they resist change in the organization. Then come disruption in the interpersonal relationships. Whenever the people are working in an organization, they have certain interpersonal relationship with one another. Suppose an organization has a library, and if an organization like educational institutes has a library, and there are two librarians, so they must be having this interpersonal relationship. They must be discussing with one another, and if they are not finding books or if they are finding any problem, they may be interacting with one another. But due to this automation, or for example, due to automation of the library system, or the way the books can be issued, everything is available at the touch of a button, press of a button, then they lose this interpersonal relationship. They do not talk with each other. This leads to social isolation. That is the reason they may resist change. So sometimes the change causes disruption of interpersonal relationships, and this is the reason why people resist change in the organization. Then, coming to another reasons for individual resistance is personality conflicts, because the personality of the change agent is something that is conflicting with the personality of the individuals. Uh, so they don't feel that the change agent will be understanding their problem. The change agents will be taking steps to remove the various obstacles that the employees are feeling or expecting. So that is the reason they do not believe the change agent, and the personality of the change agent or the people implementing the change in the organization is not conducive enough, or is not satisfying, and the people feel that due to this personality conflicts, the change agent will not be taking any will not be helping the individuals. So that is the reason they resist change. So this personality conflicts can also be one of the reasons why people resist change in the organization. Then there is politics, that due to which people are not interested to accept the change or embrace the change, because there is a certain power balance and politics in the organization. So when the new change is implemented in the organization, they feel that this there will be change in this power balance, and they will not be having those political advantages which they were having previously, enjoying in the organization. So that is the reason they may resist change. Also, there is bureaucratic inertia. Bureaucratic inertia means there is certain mechanisms, rules, procedures, policies under which the organization works, in the which the individuals work in the organization. When there is a change that is going to be implemented, sometimes this bureaucratic inertia resist this change, because they individuals, they do not, this bureaucratic nature or these mechanisms or the policies process, they do not want that the behavior of the individual should change. So this leads to resistance in the organization. Also, one of the reasons for individual resistance to change is threats to comfort. The people's comfort level is changed because the people have to change their behavior, have to learn new skills, adapt to the new environment, working environment. This causes a lot of discomfort on the part of the individuals. So that is the reason people or the individuals resist change in the organization. Another reason why people resist change in the organization is the cultural assumption and values. There are certain assumptions and cultural assumptions and values that the individuals are having, and in some cultures or some people who believe in are much more tolerant towards change than other people. So this cultural assumption and values is one of the biggest causes of resistance to change, and it's very difficult to overcome because some of these assumptions and values are underlying and unconsciously there in the minds of the individual. So it is very difficult to remove these cultural assumption and values related with the change. So this is one of the reasons for individual resist to change. Then there is selective processing of information. It's a general habit of the people that they selectively process or filter only the information they want as per their beliefs, their prejudices, their biases, and they do not accept other information. So when they only accept what they want and they do not accept the other things, they do not understand the complete process of change. So due to this selective processing of information, they try to not understand the whole process of change, and this causes resistance to change. Another reason for resistance, individual resistance to change in organization, is fear of negative impact of economically or on the income. People feel that if the change is implemented, it will lead to loss of their job, or it will lead to change in working hours, or it will impact them negatively uh, economically, and their income will be altered. So they do not want that this change to be implemented in the organization. One other reason of individual resistance to change is habits. People have certain habits. They have a particular work-life balance. They have particular way or routine of doing things. So when this habit is threatened, when they feel they have to change their habit, then it causes discomfort. So then they are not interested to embrace the change. Suppose there is a change in the location of the work, or change in the working hour, then the people working in the organization or the individuals, they need to change their complete habit, their routine of work. They have to start earlier for the job, or they have to work for more hours. That will hamper their also work-life balance. So due to this change of these habits, also one of the reasons why people resist change in the organization. Then there is misunderstanding of the process. People do not understand the complete process. They feel that the change is not good, and they believe they do not understand the complete process. So this misunderstanding of the process is also one of the reasons why change occurs in the organization, resistance occurs in the organization. And then finally, there is distrust of management. There is enough evidence to show that the relationship between employee and the management is not good. The management try to pawn this employees in order to get benefit. Due to this, ample evidence is present in this labor relations of between the employees and the management. So this distrust of in management, the management, these employees, they do not believe the management that they why the change is being implemented in the organization. Due to this distrust also, it will lead to a lot of resistance in the organization. So these are the various reasons that we have discussed in uh, detail in the previous class. Now coming to the other reasons for resistance to change, are reasons for organizational resistance. The first is threat to power structure. Most changes have the capacity to disrupt the organization's power structure. There is a proper power structure and politics that is available in the organization. There are certain groups of people who enjoy a lot of power in the organization. So when the new change is implemented, they feel that their power structure will be changed, their power will be shifted to another group, or they will lose their power. That is the reason they generally resist change in the organization. With the change process, some groups or departments or sectors of the organization become more powerful. So there is a shift in the power. so that they do not want that there should be shift in the power. They still remain, they want to remain in power. This is the one of the reasons. This is a threat to the power structure that is available in the present in the organization. This leads to organizational resistance to change. Because of that, some employees will be opposed to such as a proposal or process where they will lose their organizational power. So any organizational change that threatens their power structure, the way the power balance is there in the organization, the power they enjoy in the organization, if they feel that they will be threatened and they will lose their organizational power, then it will the employees in the organization, they together will try to oppose the change in the organization. Another reason why the people in the organizational way they resist changes, threat to power structure. Second is the resistance due to in the threat to power structure. Also, there are certain other points like introduction of decentralized decision making is an example of change that often seems as a threat to the power of supervisors and the middle managers, but they may be welcomed by the lower managers. So sometimes it causes a rift between the middle managers and the lower managers. The power will be changing from this supervisors or the middle managers. So there is a decentralized power decision making. So the power is going to shift. They no longer have this power structure in the organization. So this threat to power structure is something that causes resistance to change. Another reasons of resistance to change at the organization resistance to change is resistance due to structural rigidities or limitations. There are certain structural rigidities or limitations in the organization. Structural resistance is a characteristics feature of bureaucracies which focus more on stability, control, and set methodologies or routine. There are certain methodologies, control, routine, policies, procedures, or mechanisms in place. Due to these rigidities and limitations, it causes resistance, organizational resistance, and the people do not embrace the change. Another reason is inertia from the groups. When the people are working in an organization, they work in groups. So when they are working in groups, when majority of the group is opposing the implementation of the change program, then since they are part of the group, they also resist change in the of the resist the change and oppose this change. So groups may resist change because just like individuals, groups equally follow the behavioral patterns, norms, and culture. As a result of change, the groups might have to change their existing way of conduct or behavior. So the groups need to change their existing way of conduct or behavior. So this is a aggregation of the individuals. So if a majority of the people in the group they do not accept the change or resist the change, then it will lead to organization resist to change, because since you are part of the group, so you will also try to resist change. We have described several sources of resistance to change. Uh, the reasons for resistance to change are diverse as the workforce itself vary with individuals and organizations. So now we have discussed at a point where we have discussed what are the various reasons of individual resistance to change. We are at a point where we have discussed what are the various reasons for organizational resistance to change. So after understanding the individual and the organizational resistance to change factors, we have described all the sources, what are the available sources that causes change in the organization. The reasons for resistance to change, we can understand that the reasons for resistance to change in the organization, the workforce itself vary from the individuals and organizations. So these are certain factors are present in some organization and certain factors are present in some other organizations. So, or maybe all of the factors are present in some organizations. So with the change in since the workforce is a diverse the workforce is very diverse, and all organizations there is a different combination of people that are working in the organization. So this individual and the organizations factors that affect the impact the or cause the resistance to change will be different in different organizations. The challenge for managers is introducing change in a positive manner and managing the employee resistance. So it is a very challenging work for the managers because they have to introduce change in a positive manner and have to try to manage this employee resistance to change. And the manager should be able to understand what are the various factors that impact the change and why, what are the various individual factors and the organizational factors that causes resistance to change. So once they are able to understand and what are the various reasons for individual and organizational resistance to change, they will be in a place where they can manage the employee resistance to change in a better way. They will be able to introduce the change in a positive manner in the organization. So this is a very great challenge for manager to in order to manage this employee resistance to change. This you have to understand at this point that the employee resistance to change cannot be completely removed from the organization, but we can make find out ways in which we can manage this employee resistance to change, and we'll try to keep it at a minimum acceptable low level, because it is very difficult to completely remove the employee resistance. So there obviously will be certain resistance to change because we have to try to manage this employee resistance. So we have understood what are the various factors of resistance to change and how the managers needs to understand the various factors in order to manage the level of employee resistance and try to introduce the change initiative in a positive manner, so that the people will be able to accept the change or embrace the change in a much more efficient and effective manner. So after understanding what are the various factors that is impacting the change or is causing the resistance to change, the managers have also understand the various ways they can overcome this resistance to change or manage this resistance to change. So now we'll start with a new topic, that is overcoming resistance to change. So we have to understand change is most likely the most common occurrence in business today. In whatever business we are, in whatever organization, change is the only thing that is constant. And with the growth and the change in technology, with the growth of the organization, the all organizations has to face change. Then successful managers must accept the responsibility for managing change. So as if you are a successful manager, want to become a successful manager, then you have to accept this responsibility of managing change, resistance to change, because you cannot overlook this. You have to accept this and you have to try to take on the responsibility of managing the change. Managers should be sensitive to resistance to change so that it can be overcome easily. The manager should be very, very sensitive to this topic of resistance to change. They should understand what are the underlying factors that is causing resistance to change. If they do not, if they are not sensitive or they overlook this resistance to change, it will create a lot of problem and the resistance to change cannot be overcome. So the managers have to be very sensitive to this topic of resistance to change. They should understand why people resist change, why there is employee resistance, so that this resistance can be easily overcome. Different authors level these approaches differently. However, most authors identify the following approaches. So we have devised three approaches which generally a lot of authors support, and we will understand the three approaches, the approaches that is generally used by the successful managers in order to overcome this resistance to change or manage this resistance to change. So what are the various approaches? Three approaches. The first approach is managing change through power. So under this approach, the successful managers or the change agents, they use power in order to manage this change in the organization. It implies the use of Gaussian or often manifest autocratic leadership with contemporary organizational typically do not encourage. So they generally implies use of quotient and using this autocratic leadership in order to implement change in the organization, which contemporary organizations typically do not encourage. This is not encouraged in today's more and more modern organizations. They do not accept or do not encourage this kind of way or approach to manage change in the organization. Second is managing change through reason. So this is mostly used today in all organizations. They try to reason with the employees. They try to make them understand why the change is happening, what is the reason why the change is required in the organization, and why they should not resist the change and they should embrace the change. So this is the way, this is the one of the most used approaches. It is based on the dissemination of information prior to the intended change. So this means that the information should be circulated throughout the organization. Every employee in the organization must be having enough information regarding why the change is occurring, what is the reason for the intended change, what are the benefits of the intended change. So this dissemination of information is required prior to the intended change, so that the people will be understanding the complete process of change, and they will be having an idea what are the complete process of change and what are the various modifications that is going to happen due to this intended change. If they are understanding this, it will be easier for the employees to accept change or embrace change. Underlying assumption is that regions alone will prevail and participants will make the national choice. So when they understand what are the various reasons that will prevail, and what are the reasons by which due to which the organization is bound to implement this change or this intended change, then the organization or the participants, those who are there, employees of the organization, they will make a rational choice. They will understand that yes, the change is required in the organization, and the organization cannot forego this intended change, so they have to implement the intended change. So as employees in the organization, as participants of the organization, participants in the organization, they need to also accept the change in a rational way, and they should not lead to employee resistance, or they should not cause employee resistance. So this is something, one of the approaches that is generally followed in order to manage this change in the organization. It is through reasoning with the employees. Another also, however, individuals have various personal motives and needs. Group functions as social units. Therefore, rational choices become clouded. So what happens? Why reasoning is required? Because sometimes individuals have various personal motives and needs, and groups function as social units. So they have to rational choices becomes clouded, because they have their own needs, their own way the group functions, their own motives the groups or the individuals are having. So they do not accept the change, because it may be fear of the unknown, it might be fear of loss, or fear of loss of power balance, or politics in the organization. So these are certain needs, motives, and needs of the groups or the people. So we have to understand this, and we have to reason with this, because when these things are not handled properly, then the rationale of the people in the organization, that will be clouded. So under this approach, where we try to manage change through resistance, we try to overcome this various reasons why people resistance to resist change, and also try to mm, and make the employees understand, so that they can take a rational choice, that they will accept the change and they will not resist the change in the organization. Then the last approach that is generally followed in order to manage change or overcome change in the overcome resistance in the organization, is managing change through re-education. So we have to re-educate the employees regarding the new change process and why the change is required. So this re-education removes the various doubts that the employees are having, and they will be much more uh, conducive, or much more inclined to accept change in the organization. A middle ground approach, this is understood to be the essence of organizational development. So this re-education, this forms also the essence of organizational development, because here we re-educate the persons, the employees in the organization, so they no longer resist change. It implies a normative re-education strategy intended to affect the systems of beliefs, values, and attitudes. So this re-education is done in order to change the beliefs, values, and attitude of the people. So this re-education systems aims to change the prevailing system. What are the various beliefs that the employees are having? What are the various value systems and the attitude they are having towards the organization or towards the change? So these things, we have to re-educate them. We have to tell them why the change is happening, in what way the change will impact their work life, their working environment, and what are the various skills that they need to um, learn in order to work in the new working environment. So all these things the whatever the beliefs, value systems, and the attitude the employees are having, this needs to be changed. So this is also one of the another approaches that is used for managing the change, that is through re-educating the employees. Now, after understanding what are the three approaches, we'll understand the organizational change management. This is or the organizational change management, or the OCM. So we have to understand what is OCM. So how the organization they try to manage this change in the organization. This is known as organizational change management. So OCM, or organizational change management, is a framework for managing the effect of new business processes, changes in the organizational structure, or cultural changes within an enterprise. So whatever the processes or cultural changes are happening, what are the various change in business process that are happening in the organization change, organization structure change that is happening in an organization, how to manage all this change in the business processes, change in the organizational structure, and change in the cultural changes that is happening in the organization. So how to manage all these change processes is known as, in an enterprise, is known as organizational change management. Or simply put, or if you say in very layman language, OCM addresses the people side of change management. So they try to address what are the various problems that the people side of change management means, what are the employees, what are they are feeling, how to address what are the various difficulties they're facing, these people side or the human resource side are facing in the change management process. So they'll try to understand why people are resisting change, and then they will be able to overcome this resistance to change. A systematic approach to OCM is beneficial when change requires people throughout an organization to learn new behavioral skills. Why this OCM is generally implemented? OCM is implemented, and this is very beneficial when the change requires that the organization, there will be change at the organizational wide level, and all the people in the organizations, they need to learn a new set of behaviors or skill sets in order to operate or work in the new working environment. So when this type of organization wide change is going to happen in the organization, then we have to resort to this organizational change management framework, where we try to change the complete, understand the complete what are the various problems that the people side of the change management is there, and we try to remove that in order to see that there is minimum resistance to change. By formally setting expectations, how will manage this OCM works? By formally setting expectations, employing tools to improve communication, and proactively seeking ways to reduce misinformation. Stakeholders are more likely to buy more into a change initially, and remain uh, committed to the change throughout any discomfort associated with it. So these are the ways in which it is conducted, by formally setting expectations. So on the people side, we have to understand, we have to set expectations, and the employees should understand what are the expectations of the organization when they are trying to implement change in the organizations, in the particular organization. The people should be understanding what are the expectations of the company or the management. They also the organizational change management requires to employ various tools or techniques to improve communication, and so that they will be able to reduce this misinformation that is circulating in the industry, in the company or the organization or the enterprise. So the people will be able to understand why the change is required. They will be able to accept the change more proactively, and they will be embracing the change. Then stakeholders are more likely to buy into the change initially, and remain committed to change throughout the discomfort associated with. So what are the various stakeholders of the organizations? They need to able to buy into this change initially. They need to first accept that why this change is required, and then they will be able to, they should be remain committed in the complete change process. They should not lose heart, and they should be remain completely committed to the complete change process throughout, and they should also remove any discomfort associated with it. So they should support the people side of the people side of the change management, that is the human resources. They should remain to the committed to the change process. They should initially, they themselves must buy into this concept of organizational change that is going to be implemented in the organization, and they throughout the whole process of the change process, they should be very committed to this organizational change that is happening in the organization, and they should also support and remove any kind of discomfort that is associated with this implementation of the change program. So these are the ways in which the OCM works, the organizational change management works, and this is very important to understand this OCM, because this will be OCM is very beneficial when we are trying to implement the change at an organization wide change that requires a new behavior or a change in skill sets. So this will help the managers or the change agents to understand the various reasons for change, and also to implement the change by removing or reducing the employee resistance to change or keeping it at a minimum. Then what are the various successful certain strategies that is used under OCM in order to manage the change successfully? So what are the ways in which this OCM strategy can be used in order to overcome this resistance to change? First strategy is agreement on a common vision for change, no competing initiatives. So first is that all the employees in the organization, the upper management, everybody in the organization, they should have a common vision for change. They should understand why the change is being implemented in the organization, why there is a need for this change now and it was not really required previously, and why this change has to be implemented in the organization so that the organization can survive in the future. So they have to have a common vision for change. If they do not have a common vision for change, if they're having very competing ideas regarding or competing visions for change, then it will cause a problem. Because if you have a common agreement on the common vision for change, if the vision for the change is very common and everybody envision the same reason for change in the organization, it will be easier to manage the change in the organization, and it will cause less resistance to change. Then comes another point is successful strategy, OCM strategies. Strong executive leadership to communicate the vision and sell the business case for change. So now comes the role of the upper management or the executive leadership, who they must be able to properly communicate the vision to the various people in the organization or employees in the organization. Because if they are not able to completely make understand or communicate the reason or the vision of the change, why the change is happening in the organization, why the change is very important for the organization, then the people will not buy into the uh, vision of change, and they will not accept the change. They will try to resist the change. So one of the reasons of successful OCM strategies is to of the role of the strong leadership, executive leadership, to actually communicate the vision to the and sell this vision to the employees. Then they will be accepting this change much more effectively and efficiently. A strategy for educating employees about how their day-to-day work will change. So one of the major reasons why people resist change, because they feel that their day-to-day work will change, that the way they were working, the behavior, the skill set they were having in order to work in the present scenario, the status quo, that will be hampered, that will be completely disturbed. That is the reason the people generally resist change in the organization. So we have to understand by mm, uh, understand these reasons for resistance to change, and we have to implement a strategy for educating the employees by making them understand then how their work life will be, the day-to-day work life will be hampered, what are the various new behaviors and the new skill set that is required they should have in the new working environment. So this has to be educated to the employees. The employees should be able to understand this. So when they understand what are the change in behaviors and skill set that is required and how their work day-to-day work life will be changed, then they will be able to envision the change much more properly, and they will be able in a position to accept the change in a much more efficient manner. So a strategy for educating the people should be used, whereby the people should be educated regarding how their work, day-to-day work will be hampered or will be changed. A concrete plan for how to measure whether or not the change is a success, and follow plans for both successful and unsuccessful results. So a complete concrete change plan should be made, and various measures have to be in place to see whether the change has been a successful or not, to follow up whether the results have been successful or not, whether the objectives that were initially determined to accomplish are accomplished or not. Because once we are having the a proper concrete plan and various steps to measure the success of a particular change program, we will be able to understand whether we are accomplished the objectives which we had envisioned. And it is very important, because when the persons or the participants see that they are that the change program or the change process is successful, or it has we have got or we are accomplished or got the accepted expected results, then it will be easier for the organization. But also, if we are not getting the expected results, or we are not successful, then we can use these follow-up measures in order to increase the effectiveness of this change program. So this is also one of the successful ocean strategies that is uh, included in order to overcome this resistance to change. And finally, rewards, both monetary and social, that encourage individuals and groups to take ownership for their new roles and responsibilities. So both monetary and social rewards should be given to this various individuals and groups, so that they will be interested to take on these new responsibilities and roles. They will be interested in accepting the change, and they will not resist change in the organization. So these are the various successful OCM strategies that are used. The OCM strategy or organizational change management strategies are nothing but these are the strategies that are used to overcome the resistance to change. So in today's class, we have understood what are the individual reasons for resistance to change, what is the organizational resistance to change. We have understood what is generally meaning of overcoming resistance to change, and we have also understood what is OCM or organizational change management, under which there are certain strategies by which can be implemented in order to see that we will be able to resist change or overcome change in the organization. In the following class, in the next class, we'll be studying what are the various strategies actually used in order to overcome the resistance to change. There are 9 to 10 points, so we'll be discussing that in the next class in detail. So please go through the video. I will be sending you the note digitally. Please go through that. If you have any doubt, no need to panic, contact me. And finally, thank you for your attention.